Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you 2 different DIY rope toys that you can make for your dogs. So the only things that you'll need for this is t-shirt yarn or string or old t-shirts or anything of knit fabric that you no longer wear or use. And if you want, an old tennis ball as well. So let's get right into it. I happen to have a stained white shirt and old black knit pants that I repurposed for this video. I also got a spool of t-shirt yarn in this blue color. For this DIY, you'll need to cut 4 strips of 3 different colors. First, cut the t-shirt. I started by removing the sleeve and cut as straight as possible from the shoulder to the bottom hem. Next, cut about 3/4 inch strips of fabric. I kept the shoulder seam to keep these 2 strips attached and longer, but you can cut the seam off if you prefer a cleaner look. Once you have your 4 strips, stretch them out to make them into rope strings. Next up are the pants. I cut off the waistband and worked with one pant leg, cutting at the seam to open up the fabric to lay flat. It's easy to see here because there was a side seam stripe, but I cut along the side seam at the longest part of the pant, about 3/4 of an inch as well. Again, cut 4 even pieces and stretch the fabric to create the rope. Since my pant leg was actually my shortest piece of fabric, I cut 4 pieces of the blue yarn a bit longer than my black pieces to complete the 12 pieces of rope needed for this toy. First, separate your strings into 4 groups of the 3 different colors. Essentially, we're going to braid all 4 and then weave them all together. Work with one group at a time. Tie one of each color together, leaving some room at the top. Then braid the rope until you reach the end and tie another knot. Repeat this for all 4 groups of rope so that you end up with 4 braided pieces in total. Tie the 4 braids together at one end, making sure the knots from the original braids are showing and can easily be undone. Next, we're going to weave these 4 pieces together. Start by separating 4 braids into a plus sign. Pull the top rope down and the bottom rope up to form 2 loops. The left rope is going to weave over and under, and we'll do the same for the right. You will see a square form as you pull all 4 braids, and tighten until all of the braids are laying flat. The first one should probably be the hardest, but once you have your base, it should be easier to create this knot. Again, one rope will be facing down, one rope will be facing up, and then from left to right and right to left, you're going to go over and under. Continue creating these knots until you reach the end of the rope. Untie the individual braids and then tie the entire rope together. Make sure to also untie the individual braids at the other side of the toy. If needed, trim the rope edges and you're finished. Next up is a version using an old tennis ball. First, cut holes into the tennis ball so we can weave the rope through it. Eyeball each side and mark a dot with a pen. I used an X-Acto knife to cut a crisscross line where my dots were. Next, cut out a hole shaped like a square, connecting the lines, and carve out the excess rubber on the inside. Do this on both sides and shake out the excess rubber pieces. This is the same rope pattern, so you'll need 4 braided rope pieces tied together on one end to start. To get an idea of where the tennis ball will sit, fold the rope toy in half and tie a small piece of scrap fabric to one of the strands. Begin weaving the rope toy together in the same pattern as the first. When you get close to the halfway point, pull the last weave tight and then tie all the strings into a tight knot. These knots take up space, so you want to do this step a few inches before you actually reach your halfway marker. Next, pull each braided strand through the tennis ball one at a time. To do this easily, fasten a large safety pin through the end of the braid and pull through the tennis ball. Use a skewer to help guide the pin out of the other side when needed. Once you have all 4 braids pulled through the tennis ball, tie another tight knot. Continue to weave and complete the rope as you would the first toy. And you're finished. This is a great way to reuse old clothes, and my dogs definitely had fun playing with these. Let us know in the comments below if you're going to be making one of these rope toys for your pup. you'd like to see more DIYs like this, make sure to subscribe to K9 of Mine below, and thanks again so much for watching.